lived. So when it is short-lived, it's a state, it is a pleasurable or satisfying experience. Something happens, somebody enjoys the ice cream and the person is happy. That's temporary. But the other element of a state of well-being and contentment, another word for that is joy, joy. And that's what we would like to be able to just present today as we talk about joy being the state of happiness, which is not based on your circumstances. It is the well-being and contentment that we experience.
That makes me think, sir, and this may sound like a strange question, but if we think of happiness, we often try to do things or to engage ourselves in ways that make us happy. What are we to avoid? And that is why I think the question may be a little weird. What do we avoid if we want to be in a state of joy? Can you give us some things to avoid if we are in a state of joy?
Well, I would like to say, and avoid the kind of temporary fulfillment, which is only going to last for a while. We have got to be willing to deal with the delayed satisfaction. For the sake of that which is ahead, we make the sacrifice now. Many of us go for joy, for the happiness that says, I want to enjoy this moment without consideration for the future. So we if we're going to be long term with this thing, we must go for depth, we must go for longevity, we must go for persistence, we must go for the passion to be able to just grow through the pain and the challenges that we are dealing with right now. Avoid true joy does not come from external factors. It's not going to be found in riches. It's not going to be found in women. It's not going to be found in education. The happiness you may have some kind of temporary happiness there. But what we're after is the long-term happiness with the joy. It is found in endurance. It is found in being comfortable with the character traits that you have developed, and it is found ultimately in Jesus Christ.
I get you, sir. I hear you. Having asked that question and hearing your answer now, is joy hard to find?
You know, we teach a course called The Art and Science of Happiness, and one of the cartoon images I had in our first lesson on happiness is a cartoon with the image with the word happiness deep in its belly, and another one asking, where did you find that? I have been searching for it. And the person replied, I created it myself. So,
wow.
Two of us can be going through a situation. One comes through choosing happiness, choosing that joy, and the other frustration. So many times we're looking for it out there. And I say to my students, don't outsource your happiness. And I'm using the word now, happiness, with the broader thing, because there's a temporary and a more permanent. And it is our conviction that there's a dimension of happiness that is a pleasurable or satisfying experience. But what we're after as individuals, as families, as church people, as a nation, is a state of well-being and contentment. So you can find the ice cream, you can find the man, you can create, you can have the children, and so. But happiness comes from within, and we have got to create it by our mindset, by the perspective, by how we deal with it. If we're dealing with more technical terms that we find in the literature, we'll find something like hedonic, which is the pleasurable feelings or experience. But the other one that we're after is the eudaimonic, well-being related to purpose in life and fulfillment. And that is JOY we're talking about there.
Excellent, sir. We're going to have to go for the break now. So I'm just going to remind our listeners that our feedback question today is, what brings you joy now after Melissa? You can send us a WhatsApp, 9973125, or you can comment on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. Stick around for some more from our guest, Dr. Donovan Thomas. We'll soon be back.
Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets.
The time by Grace Good Move is
5:45.
Future private candidates. Secure your May-June exam success now. Register as an OEC private candidate before December 9 and prepare with our free live study marathon. Join us on social media at Overseas Exams on December 16 and 17 from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for CSEC and Cape Core subjects, including math and English. Learn to pass or prepare for the future. Register by December 9 or visit our website at overseasexams.org.jm or come into our offices in Kingston or Montego Bay. The OEC, Jamaica's examination hub.
The Urban Development Corporation is pleased to announce that following the passage of Hurricane Melissa, several of our landmark attractions have officially reopened. The world-famous Duns River Falls and Park, Harmony Beach Park, Otrius Bay Beach, and Turtle River Park are once again ready to welcome families, communities, and visitors. In the spirit of national recovery, these spaces stand as symbols of Jamaica's strength, unity, and resilience. UDC remains committed to supporting our people and rebuilding stronger. UDC, building a stronger, more resilient Jamaica together.
We know you're making every dollar work harder, choosing carefully, buying what you need, and making it stretch as far as you can. That's why Grace is giving shoppers discounts on over 20 of your favorite Grace products when you cash out at participating supermarkets. It's our way of helping you sweeten moments together, share more meals, and take care of the people you love. Make a good move with 20% savings from Grace.
Welcome back. We are talking about finding joy after Melissa. This is Family Time on Love 101 FM, and we want you to tell us what brings you joy now after Melissa. And our guest today, our special guest, is Dr. Donovan Thomas, co-founder of Choose Life International. And before we get back into that serious conversation, so I want to ask you, how do you maintain your joy?
I have a long-term perspective on life. I maintain my joy by counting my blessings, by practicing acts of kindness, enjoying the simple things of life, take care of my body, and of course, finding purpose, finding spiritual purpose. So, my wife and I work very hard, but we're energized by touching lives. And our motto for Choose Life International and for our own lives is to help people live. So for the last week, and we have been doing a tour of these devastated areas, and we have listened to the stories of many people, and we have been able to just connect with them, to just help them to be able to find hope. So we find joy in helping people live more fulfilled lives. It is not property. It is not what we own. It is what we are able to give as we express gratitude and we share to help make life better for people. We are energized by that, and our joy level increases. And even as we have touched life, sometimes my wife and I just said, and we are even being paid for this. As we teach people like at the college level, the art and science of happiness, to just see the transformation and just hear the testimonies. We spend most times outside of Jamaica these days, though we have been back every month since August. And we meet people wherever we go. And there's such joy when somebody is able to say, Dr. Thomas, you remember me? And I say, remind me. And they may pull up their sleeve and show me a scar and say, I tried to kill myself and you helped me. When I walked into the supermarket the other day and a security officer said, Dr. Thomas, you know I'm not depressed anymore. I am inspired by that. When I see a man and a church pastor took us out for lunch 2 weeks ago and said, we just want to say thanks for the help you provided when a member of our church died by suicide. It is not the possession, it's the perspective. It is not inward, it is external. How you give back to those people. My happiness does not come from achievement or accolades. It comes from service, from gratitude and empowering people. Wow, I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop there.
Wow, I was going to let you go on and on, but all right, make we go back to some other questions. I love that response, sir. I think that's excellent. That's excellent. And of course, it makes me ask another question now. Why is it important to be joyful? What is it about joy that makes joy important?
You know, all of us want to live long. So when we operate in a way without the baggage of life, without the difficulties, without the challenges, we live longer and we are more fulfilled. Like, for instance, when one forgives, for instance, a practical tool, forgiveness is a tool for happiness that triggers happiness. We have had so many of our students and so many people in different contexts. When they forgave, they became healthier emotionally and sometimes even physically, and not to mention relationally. When we experience that joy of getting past our past, of forgiving the person who has hurt us, we live and with the perspective that says, I am able to make it in life. Too many people are heavily burdened with the cares of life. When we reach that level, we can hand it over and know that we learn from our experiences. We learn from the past, but we don't live in the past, and we are empowered through faith and through our action to be able to live more fulfilled lives. When we are happy, when we are joyful, we live more fulfilled lives, and the people around us are happier too. We smile more, we are more generous, we express more gratitude, we drop the feelings of entitlement, and it is overall, I am better to live with because I reflect the joy in life.
I hear you, sir, and I'm hearing that it has to do with quality of life. Is that what you're saying? Joy impacts the quality of our lives.
It impacts the quality of our lives. And I'm a little bit uncomfortable with you addressing me as sir. Don't do that, sir. So I want to have my joy, so I'm being honest with you, that I feel a little awkward. Just Donovan is fine. If you want Dr. Thomas, but sir, no, man. We are in this thing together. It is really just, we're you know, somebody said we are like people in an asylum. It just means that some of us have been there longer than the other. And we are just helping people. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of not just the quality of your thoughts, one author says. And we want to encourage people to deal with improved quality of life through being joyful.
How does joy work when what you see around you is not joyful at all, when what you see around you is hardship? You know, when you said it a little earlier on that you are helped to maintain your joy when you are serving and helping others. Sometimes I hear caregivers and first responders talk about how difficult it is to see others endure pain, endure trauma, endure hardship, and it kind of affects them. How do you maintain joy in the middle of all of that?
I believe it is perspective. And I wanted to share some things, even just coming out of the hurricane. Maybe funny, but it kind of create the perspective. One man said, I lost all my food. I am happy I still have my appetite. What a perspective. Yeah. And another one said, I lost my house, but I gained a community where people are just together, just bonding so much, just saying we are in this thing together. Last week Tuesday, I drove the North Coast from Ocho to Montego Bay, and I did it again today. And as I looked at what was happening and compared the plants, the trees, I realized that there is a rebirth taking place, that there is a freshness of leaves coming out. We can see more leaves on the trees, and we realize that there's something exciting that is happening as we are regaining the greenery. Just simple things like that can help to inspire. Our perspective is important. I have listened to probably hundreds of stories in the last few weeks of people who have been through the storm, and there is such a gratitude. I am thankful that I am alive. I can make it again. So we have the choice right now, in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the difficulties, we can look back at what we have lost, or we can look forward with the perspective that we are able to achieve even more than we have had. We are able to rebuild and rebuild better. It is Franklin Benjamin who says, a smooth sea never makes a skillful sailor. And Helen Keller who says that character is not developed in ease and quiet. It is through the challenges and the difficulties of life that character is developed. And I think it's Charles Swindoll says, it is our problems that call for our mental and our spiritual growth. And I want to say to us that our perspective is important as we go through this time. We can choose to focus on what we have lost, or the fact that we still have life and we are able to make it again, and that we will, to use a common Jamaican expression, wheel and come again.
Wheel and come again. Wow. I like that. Donovan. I like that. Is there a particular scripture verse or a particular passage, just one, that you would say really stands out in your mind as we talk about this thing called joy?
You know, I wanted to point out that Jeremiah 29:11 says, for I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And the word translated from the original language, shalom, actually, that we talk about purpose, there talk about prosperity. The shalom there actually speaks of so much, and our own happiness endeavor is pivoted on that. Where shalom, when we say shalom, we're talking about prosperity. We're talking about perfectness. We're talking about wholeness. We talk about completeness. We talk about peace, harmony. And I know that God has good plans for me. And that is a verse that has helped to guide my life, that God is working out his purpose. He has good plans for my life, plans to prosper, to give hope on a future. And day by day, I ask him to help me to step into his purpose for my life this day. And I keep doing that.
I love that. We have to go for a break again. And so I'm going to remind our listeners that we are talking about joy after Melissa. And the question is, what brings you joy now after Melissa? You can send your answers via WhatsApp, 997-3125, or call the studio line 968-8327, 968-8328. You can comment on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. You're listening to Love 101 FM. This is Family Time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I'm Itana, and human trafficking is everybody's business. Call 1-888-PROTECT to report suspected cases of child trafficking.
The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6 o'clock.
This Christmas, celebrate the season with purpose at Season Splendor 2025.
Join us Saturday, December 20 at Emancipation Park for a full day of joy. The Season Splendor Christmas Market Expo from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and stay for the Love Restores benefit concert from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. A special evening of praise and giving for families affected by Hurricane Melissa.
Shop, connect, and celebrate with local vendors. Then stay to lift hearts and help restore hope. Season Splendor and Love Restores, supporting businesses and restoring hope with Love 101 FM.
Welcome back. You are tuned to Love 101 FM, and this is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Our show this evening is Finding Joy After Melissa, and our special guest, Dr. Donovan Thomas, co-founder of Choose Life International, is with us, and we are happy that he's here to just shed some light and offer some insight. And before we went for the break, he had mentioned to us, he had shared that this thing about joy has a lot to do with our perspective, our mindset, our frame of mind. And I want to ask him now, what are some methods or some tools that you can give us that can help us to find joy?
Thank you. And I want to actually ask us to think about discovering joy as choosing joy rather than finding it. And I would say to us, many times we look for that joy in places, in wrong places. We try money, we try sex, we try achievements. What are those things that really bring real joy? And I would like to suggest to us that we have got to count our blessings. In spite of what's going on, there are some good things happening. Count your blessings. Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. So let's take time out. I want to encourage us in the midst of what's going on to even keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things every day that you're grateful for. Keep it on your phone. Develop that kind of attitude. Sometimes we go to bed and we have the cares of the world on our heads, and we can't sleep because we are worried. I want to ask us, even as we deal with this post-Melissa time, that instead of focusing on the many things that we have lost and the many things that have gone wrong, and the fact that we don't have electricity and we don't have water and all that kind of stuff, and our income is cut, count the blessings. Like my friend said, him have appetite still, even though he lost the food. Count your blessings. Then think of ways in which you can.
Sorry. Before you continue, sir, I want to ask you a quick question here. A very, very good friend of mine always says that when we are counting our blessings, we must look for the small things as well. Is there any value in looking at things that are in some people's minds insignificant and counting those as blessings? Because most of the time we say, oh, I give thanks for life and I give thanks for my my husband or my wife, and I give thanks for my children. But do we give thanks for a little mango if we get a mango? Are we to count that as a blessing? If somebody pass by and just tell you, "Oh, I like your shirt," do we give thanks for those things, Doc?
Certainly. I want to tell you that the last time I was walking past a black mango tree and I saw one on the roadside, I just pick it up because those are rarities where I spend most of my time right now. So those simple things, and you really don't know what you have until you miss it. In some of these places that I've been to, I see all these mangoes looking so nice, and when I taste them, nothing like the Jamaican mango. So however small it is, let's develop an attitude of gratitude that we are grateful. I remember that I had somebody who traveled over 60 miles to come to see me for some intervention. And the person took the bus, got a taxi, and the person just could not find one thing that he was able to identify as a blessing. And we have to dig deep sometimes. The simple thing like the air that we breathe. Let's develop an attitude of gratitude. Some of the things we take for granted. The water that we usually just open the pipe and it flows in most places. No, so let's give thanks to the small things. So yes, sir, and the big things, and
Absolutely.
and yes, sir. And I don't know which category you put wife and husband in, but I want to say big thing that.
Yeah, I agree. That is a big thing, and I think give God thanks for my wife every day.
Yeah.
Actually, more than one time a day, if I'm going to be honest. But sir,
allow me at this time to just say thanks to Dr. Barry Davidson for the role he has played in our lives. On Saturday past, my wife and I celebrated the 40th anniversary of our engagement. And Dr.
Of the
Barry
engagement. Of the engagement.
Yes, man. We anticipate the wedding anniversary later on, but the celebration of the engagement. And Dr. Barry Davidson was our marriage officer. And he is still the person I run to when I need somebody to talk with. When I feel that I need a counselor, I need a perspective on a counselor. And I want to just say, salute Dr. Barry Davidson, even on this program right now, and tell him much thanks and appreciation for his impact in my own life of my wife, and the life of our children and their wives.
Sir, you just did, I know I mustn't call you sir, Donovan, you just did something that is so critical to the mindset. Here it is, you are now giving thanks for something that took place 40-something years ago, and identifying the person who was able to impact your life in such a meaningful way. If we can all do that, and if we can all throw our minds back, I'm sure we can find somebody somewhere that we can do a similar thing with. That's such a powerful example right there to me.
Yeah, but for us, it has been an ongoing relationship. And
absolutely.
Yeah. But
and for others, it may be as well, or it may just be that somebody had impacted you just at one time, but it has lasted and been an influence ongoing.
Yeah, for sure. On my way to Jamaica this last time around, I stopped to visit the Reverend Dr. Jerry Gallimore. And it was Thanksgiving week in the States and so. And one of my goals was to say thanks to him for having, according to him, laid hands on me for ministry when I was 16 years old. That was my intention. Laid hands on me for ministry, and I stopped to just say thank you. Appreciate it.
Wow. There you go.
So even right now, I want to ask us, who are listeners, we're writing the gratitude note. We're keeping a record of the things we are grateful for. But I also want to ask our listeners to take time out to just reach out to somebody and tell them thanks. Somebody who has impacted your life. Somebody who has been there for you. Somebody who has just stood in the gap for you. It may be a mother, it may be an uncle, it may be a godmother, a teacher. Reach out and just say thank you for the ways in which you have impacted my life. Let's express the gratitude through kind words.
And that brings us, sir, to the connect with others. Is that something that we really should be trying to focus on a little more, connecting?
Oh yeah. As we have done these seminars across the areas ravaged by the hurricane, we have been saying to our people, healing takes place in community. And we've been saying, in the midst of the difficulties and challenges, connect. And we give them an acrostic and COPE. And the first word is connect. Connect with people. Connect with people in a community. And I've heard some of those stories. So we usually pass each other. We don't even say hello. But now that the storm come, all of us are there helping each other. I didn't even talk to those people, but they came over to help me. Let's connect with people, with family members, and just reach out. We are created to be in relationship with others, and let's forge ahead in spite of the difficulties and challenges, and connect with people at various levels.
Yes, sir. And the O, what does the O stand for?
Open your life for renewal and reflection. That in this time, it may be renewed commitment to God, an attitude of gratitude that says, God, you have spared us one more time, and we are grateful for your help. So COPE, we can cope, connect, open your life for intervention, and then P is practice self-care. Practice self-care, rest, try and get some rest, watch the nutrition. I hear some people say, I'm tired of tin food now. But I also hear some others saying, I am grateful that we can find some tin food because we don't know how would I manage.
That's so true.
As we deal with this, with the practice self-care, sometimes we have to just write down these things. I've asked you to engage in gratitude journal. We realize that we are in a rebuilding process. And some of the activities we have done is just to allow our people to just give themselves a butterfly hug and just embrace themselves and just say, you may have lost everything, but you are still valuable. You have not lost any value. And I want all of our listeners to hear that. In fact, I mentioned this program today in the presence of some of our people in St. James, and they said, but we don't even have any radio to listen to it. But those who are hearing, just express gratitude. Take care of yourself in the midst of what's going on. Practice healthy routines. And as you deal with self-care, take time out to just celebrate moments of joy. For some,
that was E a while ago.
We're still on the P. We're still on the P.
Oh, we're still on the P. Okay.
Yeah. And the E is encourage hope and purpose. Share stories of hope. Share stories of purpose in the storm. For instance, one person said to us, before the storm, they had a struggling plantain tree they contemplated cutting down before the storm, but they decided to just cut the leaves and leave the storm. Leave the stalk.
Leave the stalk.
Yeah. So they cut off the leaves and just leave the trunk or whatever you call it in the planting world.
And it's still standing.
Said, 2 weeks after the storm, it started to shoot planting. So it is possible to fruit even in the midst of the difficulties. It is our problems that call for our mental and our spiritual growth. So we want to encourage acts of kindness, using kind words. And I want to ask us, as we go through this time, make a deliberate effort to share hope with others. And I want to say, before you spit out those words, taste them.
Oh, that's excellent. I love that.
Smile some more and volunteer. Let's work together to ignite resilience. Brother Ronald.
Dr. Donovan, I'm going to ask you to hold that thought. Please don't forget the thought, but we have to go for a break. But before we go for the break, I want us to listen to Word to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike. Word to Flesh Moments with Reverend Mike.
Rejoice always, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus. So in biblical reality, one does not find joy, one practices joy. Consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kinds. James chapter 1. In other words, use the trials that beset your life to practice joy. Habakkuk 3. Though the fig tree does not blossom, and there be no grapes on the vines, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. In other words, my circumstances don't control my joyfulness. I will determine to be joyful no matter how bad my circumstances happen to be. Joy does not come from a frivolous, bless me God type of Christianity. It comes from a maturing heart that truly believes in God and believes that it is God's will for anyone who follows him to practice joy despite one's circumstances. I firmly believe God didn't send Melissa to destroy Jamaica to punish sinners. If that was true, not one of us would have been left alive. Melissa came to provide the circumstances to prove who is a child of God and who is not. During or after Melissa, have you found yourself stealing, being unloving and uncaring, not helping your neighbor, being selfish, having no joy in your circumstances? Melissa was a DNA test from God. Are you his child or are you not? I'm Reverend Mike from Fellowship Tabernacle, and we just had a WTF moment.
But not the heart of those who want to do you wrong. So many
Bless up. This is Christopher Martin. Human trafficking is a crime. Let's unite to end human trafficking. Be wise, open your eyes. Spot them, stop them, and report them.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
No shadow at the dark. No shadow at the dark.
Welcome back. It is now 16 minutes after 6 according to my clock, and you're tuned to Love 101 FM. This is Family Time, brought to you by Family Life Ministries. FLM provides counseling for people with all kinds of challenges from all walks of life. Remember, you can tune in to the program via the Love 101 Facebook page and the YouTube channel. We're going to change our topic because of this discussion with Dr. Donovan. The way he has put it to us, we are now going to say that we are talking about choosing joy after Melissa. That's what we're talking about this afternoon. And I want to welcome back our special guest, Dr. Donovan Thomas, co-founder of Choose Life International. Boss, you make we change the topic. I don't think we have ever done that in the history of this program. Change the topic midstream. We are choosing life, choosing joy after Melissa.
And choose life too. Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, I want to just say, I really just trust that is the perspective of our listeners too. That we can engage, make a deliberate choice to be able to just mellow through this, grow through this, groan if we must, but may we grow. Ronald, you know, there's something called post-traumatic stress that all of us are familiar with. And post-traumatic stress disorder. But there's something called post-traumatic growth. And I want to ask our listeners, even as we were continuing on the COP, connect with others, open your hearts for renewal and reflection, including the spiritual. P, practice self-care, encourage hope and purpose. I want to say, even in problems, there's purpose. And so push for growth. Grow as you go through the situation. But I want to say, descend your roots deep down and grow through this. May this experience anchor us as individuals, as families, and as a nation to be stronger and better. May we not be bitter, but better as we go through this. We can choose that which is temporary and based upon happenings, or we can choose that which is long term based upon trait, emotion, and disposition, and that's what we're after. We're saying joy is deep sense of peace and meaning. Happiness, one dimension of happiness is surface level, positive feelings. We are after that deep sense of peace and meaning in whatever we do. And I want to ask us, don't delegate, don't outsource your joy. And I'm using, well, my philosophy is, and my belief is that happiness has a permanent element and a temporary element. And the permanent element, as we have said before, is the JOY. Don't outsource your happiness. Don't delegate it to anybody else. Don't outsource your joy. Take control of where you are. Develop a mindset that says, I am going to make it through this, because indeed the joy of the Lord is my strength. And we're going to come through better. Joy strengthens resilience, persistence, and coping ability. Joy supports mental health, recovery after trauma. The joy that we're talking about helps us to adapt under pressure. It reduces burnout and emotional exhaustion. Joy is a protective factor. A protective factor, especially relevant to Jamaica's post-hurricane emotional rebuilding. May we protect ourselves with the JOY. Yes, JOY, JOY. We are campaigning to dig deep, find meaning, find purpose, grow through this, and let's be better on the other side.
Dr. Donovan, I'm glad we have had this discussion. There was an example you gave a little while ago about the planting tree. You said planting tree, right? That the guy had trimmed.
Yeah, planting. Yeah, the tree, the plant. Yeah.
That planting tree. It sounds to me like what you are talking about, where you said that we have permanent and we have temporary. That planting tree where the guy trimmed off everything, it was still a planting tree. And it was there. And then as it recovered, as it grew back, then you begin to see the fruit coming off of it. It began to bear fruit. And I'm thinking to myself that is a perfect example of that permanent joy now allowing us to experience happiness. And sometimes we have to get rid of those things that may make us happy, but maintain the joy. Those things that may be temporary and they may have a season. So if you have a mango tree, you're not all the while you go there, you're going to find mango, but the mango tree is there. And that is where I am putting my correlation of joy as being that real substantial thing from which all the other happiness, all the little mango come from.
Yes.
All the little happiness come from that solid tree that is planted, not going anywhere. I love that you had mentioned that particular thing, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you so much.
How can we go ahead?
Yeah, I am just learning and growing. As I listen to the stories, I am also encouraging myself to see the resilience in our people, to see the people rebuilding, and to see the energy that is being put into helping others with sometimes just a bucket of water. We are our brother's keeper. We're encouraging hope and purpose, and people are finding fulfillment in just joining hands and heart together.
Yes, sir.
Rebuilding.
Sharing something as simple as some clothespin, because clothespin could be very important at this point, just to hang up and make things dry. And you lost all of your clothespin and somebody share some with you. That's a blessing to count.
Yes, sir.
How can we be sure that we are actually joyful and not just kind of elated or temporarily happy? How do we know if we are joyful or not?
You know, there's a peace that passes understanding. And we can be troubled on the outside, but peace on the inside. Peace be still. So how do we know if we're joyful? We're showing gratitude. We're overflowing with thanksgiving. We are engaged in acts of kindness. There is a calm presence over our lives. We are people of compassion and connection. And we have an attitude of worship, and we are engaged in spiritual practices, including looking out for others, spending time in God's presence, and rejoicing always, as our preacher said earlier. Even though the fig tree does not bud, no grapes on the vine, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will joy in the God of my salvation. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of the deer. He enables me to go on the heights. Roland, I don't know if you remember, but 13, 14 years ago, I was diagnosed with major heart disease. And I believe life took on a different meaning for me in the midst of the problems and difficulties, where I thought I was going to die. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. I told my wife goodbye and told her it was okay for her to get married again, but not before 2 years. I came to...
Sorry to laugh, but that's such a specific statement.
Yeah, man, I want to come back and squeeze somebody's neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, God gave me grace to be able to live and to see my heart functioning, being normal, and experience so much favor. So when you have gone to some place like I have gone, I have such a passion to help people live. Let me share with you finally that on the first anniversary of my having come out of the hospital following a heart surgery, the United Nations declared March 20th, 2013, International Day of Happiness. And so every year the world celebrates with me on the anniversary of my coming out of the hospital. Most people around the world don't know that it's me them celebrating with, but me know.
Yes, I think we need to tell them.
International Day of Happiness. And every week, March 20th and the Sunday before the 20th and the Sunday after the 20th, we have a week of happiness. And especially in this time when there's so much trauma and we're on the recovery path, I want to encourage people to just celebrate today, tomorrow, and every day, and join in that International Day of Happiness as we celebrate with the world for what God has done for us and for our situation.
I'm glad, Dr. Donovan, that you were sharing with us today. We have to wrap now. I'm just going to ask you to give us a sentence to leave with, a sentence that talks about choosing joy after Melissa. Just one sentence.
As we go through the challenges of life, let us not just rebuild structures and systems. Let's rebuild spirits and experience the joy that is needed for the rebuilding.
Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. It has been my pleasure. Dr. Donovan, big up and respect. And respect to your wife as well, sir.
Minister of the RJRT. Thank you.
Thanks for being here with us, listeners. If you have questions of a personal nature or you're concerned about a friend or a family member, call us. For more information on our services or for our counselors in Kingston and other parts of the island, contact our head office at 876-920-1034 or 926-8101. And for those who prefer to use WhatsApp, you can contact us at 5798-690 or 279-8678. Note that for appointments and information on costs, you must call the offices. Otherwise, to keep up to date with what's happening with FLM and our programs, check us out on our new Facebook page at FLM-Family Life Ministries. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Family Life Ministries-FLMJA, and on Instagram, it's simply FLMJA. Before we leave you, here is our verse for the evening. Even though the fig trees have no blossoms, and there are no grapes on the vines, even though I have no sheep in my pen, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God, my Savior. And that's from Habakkuk chapter 3, verses 17 and 18. Join us next week for another informative program. Thanks again to our special guest, Dr. Donovan Thomas. Thanks also to our show producer, Kathy Gale, Derval Graham, for piloting us through this hour. And of course, you, our special guests. I was sitting in for Tamika. My name is Roland Gale. Have yourselves a great week.
You're tuned to Family Radio Broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica. We're Love 101 FM. The time is now 6:30 p.m.